is happening, you guys? Here is my squat tutorial that I promised you. So I'm just going to kind of go through the steps that I take when I'm trying to execute the perfect squat. So first off, we start off with our hand position. As you can see, I have about a shoulder width distance. You want to try and get your hand position as close as possible because this allows you to create a shelf on your back. A closer grip allows you to bunch your traps up so you can create the shelf. If you can't get your distance that close, it's likely a flexibility issue, so you might want to try and work on that. Or if you have bigger traps and you already have the shelf there created, then you don't need to be as close. So once you have your hands positioned correctly, you can pull yourself under the bar, and then you want to focus on your foot position. You want to have a shoulder width stance, and you want the bar to be over your center of gravity, which is the middle of your foot. So a cue for this would be to pretend like the bar is cutting your foot in half. You don't want to have a wide stance, otherwise that's more knee flexion you're going to have to use in order to get the bar out of the rack. So once I get my foot position right and pull myself under the bar, I actually am going to wedge myself into place because I want to use as little force and energy to get the bar out of the rack. And you also want to put tension on the bar, so this is why I'm actually wedging myself into place. All I'm going to do in order to pull myself out of the rack is I'm going to drive my hips forward and the bar should go straight up. So the next step is the walkout. So we have a couple of options here. You can perform the 2-step walkout or the 3-step walkout. I personally like to use the 3-step walkout just because that 3rd step allows me to get my foot into place where I need it to be. We want to try to minimize the amount of steps that we take though, so no more than 3 steps, but if you can perform it in 2, I do recommend it because it helps minimize the amount of energy that we're using. Now we're on to the bracing stage. I'm going to contract my glutes as hard as I can, and this is actually going to put our feet into the correct position, which actually gives you a stable base. So we're almost ready to squat. We're going to contract our glutes, and then one final step before we descend is our breathing method. So we're going to do the Valsalva maneuver. This is where you want to get as much air into your stomach as possible, and then you're going to brace. So a braced stomach is like you're preparing for someone to punch you, so your stomach should be super hard when you take in all the air. You don't want to breathe into your lungs. This is actually going to cause you to shrug, and you can actually lose stability because you're going to deviate from your position. So that's why you want to focus on bringing all the air into your stomach. Now you want to have this air locked in for the entire movement. So how do we do this? You actually want to close your glottis. So in order to do this, you want to focus on pushing your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and this is actually going to keep the air nice and locked into your stomach. If your air isn't locked into your stomach, what's going to happen is you're going to lose it, and then you're going to have like a blowfish face. So now we have all the air locked into our stomach, so we're now finally ready to descend. So the perfect squat should actually look the same going up as it did going down. So in order to do this, we want to break at the hips first instead of the knees. So we break at the hips by driving them back, and then we're going to break at the knees in order to reach depth. So as we're descending, we want to make sure that the bar path is in a straight line. If you're not sure if it is, I would actually recommend recording yourself from a side angle. As you can see right here, you can see that the bar path is completely straight. You also want to make sure that the bar stays over the center of your foot the entire time. Some people are going to lean further forward, other people are able to sit more upright, and this is going to depend on the length of your femurs and how tall you are. Me, for instance, I have a little bit longer femurs, so I'm actually sitting quite a bit more forward. I've been told numerous times you need to sit upright more, you need to sit upright more. But if I do, the bar is actually no longer over the middle of my foot, and I'm actually going to fall backwards. So I need to actually lean forward a little bit more. So one more thing, as you're descended, you want to have your shins as perpendicular to the floor as possible. This is going to avoid your knees going over your toes and for you to be able to activate your glutes, which is what we want. And then as you can see right here, my head position is completely straight. You want to make sure that all the way from your neck all the way down to your lumbar is completely straight the entire time, going up and going down. And one last final thing is you want to actively focus on pressing your knees out, so driving your hips out as you're going up and going down. this is going to allow you to reach that depth that you're looking for. So that's it, you guys. I hope this was helpful for some of you. Please like and subscribe, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you next time.